Warning, this chapter contains adult content. So to maintain the PG-13 rating of this channel, I have edited that out and rewritten it as best I can. To read the original chapter in its entirety, please visit the link in the descriptions. Taming the Demon by Amilevskiro. Chapter 14. To Blackjack is 21. After the hug and threaten thing happened, Hiruma found that the kid had taken to sticking to him like glue. The boy kept pace with him during the runs, even while zigzagging, carrying Yukimitsu for a brief spiel, and eventually kicking two separate halves of the rock. Additionally, the brunette had started to make a point of sleeping next to the blonde, whether he wanted to fool around or not. The captain still had regular little escapades with all three personalities, but now they always curled into his side and used him for a pillow when finished. The quarterback knew that anyone else doing this would annoy the heck out of him, but it didn't with Sena. The only downside was that Demon kept trying to give him butt names. Sena just called him Hiruma-san. Eyeshield was more formal, calling him Hiruma Taicho, but Demon had something different every time. Hirukun, Hi-chan, Yoruichi Taicho, even Yo-chan. Upon inquiry, Demon casually commented that it was one of his greatest pleasures to aggravate other people, but very rarely did he get the chance to do so. Figures. The blonde didn't bother telling the brunette off for it. There were much more entertaining ways to silence any coherent speech. And they continued what the quarterback suspected might be the beginnings of some kind of messed up four-way but really two-way relationship. The funny part was that even though he had touched the original Sena on several occasions, he was yet to let the first year touch him back. There was a very particular reason for this, though. The brunette would need time to explore and permission for every move he made. Meaning it was going to be a lot riskier to call on that favor on the back of the Devil Bat truck. This is why Hiruma was in an extra good mood when the lights of Las Vegas appeared on the horizon. They were almost there. Demon had called him on it that night.
You're acting like a little kid at Christmas, Yoruichi. Well, a little you, at least.
The blonde merely raised an eyebrow and asked about the use of his given name.
We couldn't come up with an address that suited you. Not one that I could use anyway. I'm not submissive like they are. Now answer me. Are you really that hyped about finishing the death march?
Anybody else would have listened to the question and heard the callousness and the underlying anger that together made up what Demon was. But the Devil of Damon wasn't anybody else. On top of that, Eyeshield had told him a lot about their coexistence and development, such as the fact that they were gaining access to emotions beyond that of their initial respective manifestations. Read, Demon understood more than rage, Eyeshield more than resilience. All of that added up to the second year deciding that the barest trace of fear in Demon's voice was not, in fact, imaginary. The most volatile and dangerous persona was nervous that Hiruma was going to drop Sena like a hot potato once his options in bed partners opened up to more than the Damon Devil Bats. The quarterback wrapped his long arm around the brunette's shoulders and nipped him on the ear, the way only Demon truly loved. Turning to walk back to the truck, the blonde casually tossed over his shoulder that they had yet to have any fun in an actual bed yet, and he was pretty eager to try that out.
You're such a shithead, Yoruichi. But that's what we love the most about you.
The shithead only gaggled. They must have been a frightening sight for the Las Vegas pedestrians, covered from head to toe in sweat and dirt, collapsing from exhaustion in the street, yelling and cheering in their foreign language. They probably looked like they had barely survived some natural disaster. Smelled like it, too. It was hilarious when Doboroku gave his little heartwarming speech, only to find that they had all passed out. Hiruma would never admit to anyone that the moment he shut the door to his hotel room and laid eyes on the waiting mattress, he was dead asleep. What he would tell you, though, is that there is no rest for the wicked, which is why a certain running back was knocking on his door not 2 minutes after he woke himself back up. He allowed the brunette into his room and quickly determined him to be the original Sena. Sorry for barging in. I know I should be rested, but this is probably too much to ask. Please don't shoot me. The look on Hiruma's face showed a combination of wondering why they weren't past this yet and wanting the kid to spit it out. I couldn't hear you breathing. It felt wrong. I wanted to stay here. With you? So that's what he wanted. Slowly, a grin slid onto the blonde's face. Beckoning the boy forward with one hand, patting a spot on the bed with the other, the quarterback made sure the shrimp was comfortably settled, the door shut and locked, before he finally responded that it was about time the captain called that favor back. The first year's face heated up, but he didn't start freaking out, meaning he was expecting something like this to happen. The sudden tenseness in his posture, however, spoke volumes about his confidence in his performance. The blonde crawled onto the sheets next to the boy, kissed him, bit his lip gently, and told him not to worry. They would take this step by step. Now come here. In the morning, it was time to earn some money. Look out, Las Vegas. Hiruma Yoichi has come to town. Yah-ha!